Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to Blisterstein, where we are racing all of the Macawian hairpins with extra sauce. Where are we racing? What are we doing?
We are actually racing the Red Bull Ring in our multi-class Enduro series with GT3 and GT4 cars. So the blue cars, the little on the left-hand side there, you see a lovely standings. If it has a blue little slash beside it, that's a GT3. And if it's an orange, it's a GT4. GT4s are slower, so yeah. I mean, well, you can see that actually, like the spread.
Indeed.
The spread between first and last for GT3 is about 3 seconds, and then there's an extra 6 seconds back to the fastest GT4. So there is your speed comparison, effectively.
Grotesque.
Oh, we did have an Audi. I was saying that after the race that we had no Audis. I forgot Ishmael Montoya is in fact racing an Audi. So
perhaps he got harpooned.
No, I remember him in the race too. I guess it just didn't sink in.
Well, there you
Although I am still puzzled by the lack of Audis on this on the race, because the Audi R8 is a really good GT3 car. It's one of the venerable designs. It's been top for a long time, and the recently upgraded version of it is pretty much the same car. So it's a bit weird that the ESR / other communities that we have here, because this, of course, is also a multi-community race. That's why you're seeing a lot of people that we traditionally don't see in our other races here. And I'm a little puzzled why there's a lack of Audis. Anyways, Mike Stofmeel's on pole. Surprise, surprise, but he had to work for it. Ariel Zatoni, Paul Ricard, Christopher Streppen, Zerai Garunian, Jesus Huerta, all within 0.4 of a second of him. So that's pretty damn good. Might have a fight at the front. Ishmael Montoya, Gerardo Delval, Alvar Gomez, and Martin Edmonds rounding off your top 10 in the GT3 category. In GT4, it will be John Barker leading the way from Zack Hemstrom, Douglas DeGroat, Zifo Duran, James Butler. I got the top 5 at least.
No, you didn't. There's only 7. I mean, what?
The racetrack here, if I have not mentioned, is the Red Bull Ring. F1 races here. One of the most popular tracks in the world. Definitely the most popular in Austria. And it's a really nice track. I think if you're not terribly familiar with it, you should probably get familiar with it, I guess, is what I'm saying. Because it's really fun, really challenging track, and it's good for racing, unlike some other tracks which are a little follow the leader, shall we say.
What you're saying is you need to launch the blue shell.
I mean, if you're like me, yeah, totally.
Launch the blue shell early and often.
But it's hard to get the blue shell unless you're in last place. So you got to hang around in last place.
Well, shit.
All right, here we go. Now, I will say the one problem might be is that the gaps on the sidebar or on the left-hand side there are going to be useless for GT4s because it's just going to say they're a lap down after a while. But here we go. Heading towards turn 1 of the Red Bull Ring. Leading the way is Mike Stofmeel. He is that white, green, and black Mercedes-Benz AMG. In second place, it is Ariel Zatoni, and then Jesus Huerta, who is back after a race away, I think. I don't think he raced at Paul Ricard. Paul Ricard in there. Ishmael Montoya, whose car is shaking like a leaf. That, I assure you, is just high ping related issues. His car probably not actually doing that on his screen. But he is the lone Audi in the field. A couple Porsches, BMWs are pretty popular, 2 Corvettes, and the rest are AMGs. And then in the GT4 category, it's, again, a fair number of BMW M4s, couple Lotuses, couple of the old school Porsches. There was going to be 1 KTM on the grid, but sadly one car was unable to make the grid due to disconnecting, and that was one of your favorites, Byron, Frederico Zwanger.
Oh, very nice.
As Christopher Streppen goes side by side with Alvar Gomez. So weird seeing Alvar Gomez in a Porsche 911. He's usually a big Audi guy. So to see him, disloyal to the brand, it's a little disappointing.
Well, everybody's going to drive on them Expos, but I think it got vetoed.
The Expos, unfortunately, just not very competitive. It's just honestly what it boils down to.
Well, maybe if they tried a little harder.
Well, they're a lot smaller of a company. I mean, KTM versus the mights of Porsche and BMW and that kind of thing. I mean, it's not really a fair fight.
Well, then I think they should give the Expos some shotguns.
Oh, okay, so the gaps actually did correct themselves, and the GT4s are relative to each other. That's good. That's going to be helpful. Mole Mole on the tail of Delvin and Gomez. And Sean Kenny in behind in the pink, black, white BMW there, or Mercedes there. That is the Hello Kitty car. Sean Kenny, I think, owes, like, myself and Mike Stofmeel, like, all the points he gets in that Mercedes, because he was, at the start of this whole thing, he was bitching about how he didn't like GT3s and whatever. We asked him what GT3s he'd tried. He said, I tried the rough and the Porsche. I'm like, so basically you just tried Porsches then. Have you considered that you just don't like Porsches? And apparently that had never occurred to him before, so me and Stofmeel got him to race the AMG instead. And he seems to be enjoying it.
Excellent.
So we end the... This is the first lap? No, this is a second lap, I think. Yeah, that'll be the second lap. Okay. Mike Stofmeel leading from Ariel Zatoni, Jesus Huerta, Paul Ricard, and Ishmael Montoya, your top 5 in GT3. And it is John Barker, James Butler, Demetrius Simeonitis, Mauricio Delgado, and Zifo Duran, your top 5 in the GT4 category. And Zifo, if I'm saying your name wrong, feel free to give us a pronunciation of how to actually say it, because I don't think I've ever seen anyone with that name.
I'm gonna call him Expo.
That probably also could be it. Debuting Mikel or Michel, not sure. The spelling is definitely the Mikel Costa, but being from France, he could be Michel Costa. I'm not sure. Anyways, he's at 15 points. That's Russian. Oh, Gerardo into the wall, and he lost his front. He lost his hood. I was wondering because he lapped me. Spoiler: he's going to lap me because I'm driving a GT4 a couple of times, and I was trying to figure out why he had no front. He had no hood the entire time. We just got our answer. Looks like we have lost Jesus Caladas from the race. He is shown in 35th position, and I assume out of the race.
I can guarantee that he has officially exploded entirely.
Could be.
That Corvus 19 ain't no joke.
Christoph Verstappen in 6th place there behind Ishmael Montoya. Looks like the top 6 have kind of started to get away from everybody else. Doesn't look like Gomez now can really keep going. I mean, Gomez is kind of on his own there in the Porsche. He's quite a ways ahead of Sean Kenny, who's back there with Clyde Britton. By the way, Clyde Britton in the Lincoln Park car. We are obliged to make fun of that, as always.
Yeah, it's just so hard to get excited about making fun of Lincoln Park, though.
I know. I had some good ones during the race, but I feel like people are not familiar enough with Linkin Park to get my song title jokes.
I think that's all they're really going to be good for, though.
Yeah.
Like, but in the end, it didn't matter. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, just getting us a little far to close to the edge of that track.
I pulled the one step closer when he was catching up with someone, but it didn't elicit any laughs. It was a bad audience.
Because Linkin Park's horrible.
I like a couple of songs.
Nobody likes a couple of their songs.
I think either you like a couple of their songs or you hate them all. I don't think anyone likes everything.
That's probably accurate. Yeah.
They're a band that, to their credit or discredit, did on some of their albums really journey into like different styles. So I think it'd be hard to find someone who likes everything they did and isn't like related to the band.
Yeah, that seems fair.
In the background there, Moly Moly and Clyde Britton running side by side, and that is going to favor the Linkin Park car there for 9th place ahead of Moly Moly, and that is Martin Edmonds behind them, and then Gustav Ekstrom. Ekstrom, by the way, Academy driver who got into the GT3s and is doing pretty well. So, shout out to the ESR Academy crew who is doing excellent work and becoming better drivers all the time. Although,
good job, Gustav.
whatever the opposite of that is to Jesus Huerta, who's lost a spot to Ishmael Montoya. Montoya, of course, the famous Blinky guy from his ESR debut. He doesn't do that anymore, so that's good.
No.
What did Huerta do there? Gave Verstappen a hell of a run. Imagine Verstappen's heartbeat might have raised up there for a sec. Oh, I think Huerta DNF'd. Must have hit the wall. So our resident
guarantee he hit the wall.
Our resident Peruvian driver is out of the race.
Peruvian necktie.
That's good. That's a good one. Tony D'Souza in the house. Although, ironically, the only UFC win by Peruvian necktie is not Tony D'Souza's, which is a bit weird, considering that he is the progenitor of the move.
It was Sean Shirk.
No, I cannot imagine Sean Shirk winning by Peruvian necktie.
No, me neither. That's actually the joke. That's why I said it like that.
I know. I'm just clarifying. I'm clarifying for our largely non-MMA audience, sir.
Jeez, make them do a little research.
They probably won't.
That's fine, too.
The only one is actually CB Dalloway.
That makes me sad.
That does actually make me sad.
That legit makes me sad.
That's sad trivia for the day. Something has happened to Verstappen. He's actually got back to 17th place. So the Huerta DNF may in fact have actually given him a heart attack.
I'd like to congratulate
Paul Ricard lost
Mole for being the only standout driver on the course because he's got obviously the best camo.
I do like his car. It's a very nice one. Paul Ricard lost third place to Ishmael Montoya. So Montoya on the charge. He's showing that Audi strength despite its lack of popularity.
The Strumpfs.
Just checking in to see if anyone's... Oh, Ayrton Tobin's up to third place. He's making his debut in this series. Cole McRae, also a debut. Ariel Zatoni going for the move here. Or is he lapping someone? No, he's going for the move. Against Mike Stofmeel. And he's... Oh, it looked like he had it, but he took a little bit too much of that curb. And, well, you make a small mistake when you're fighting Stofmeel, and he's going to take advantage of it. And there's an example of that.
How many Clydesdales of ballast weight is Stofmeel handling today?
I believe he's only handling 53 kilos.
Well, that seems insufficient because he's now 98, 7/10 of a lap ahead of everybody.
Alvar Gomez Cuesta going forward against Montoya, who's lost third place to Paul Ricard, so I was giving him a lot of credit there, and he just kind of lost the spot back. We didn't see that. That was off camera. Sean Kenny versus Clyde Britton for 6th place here. Mercedes on Mercedes fight.
Ready, fight!
Indeed. Moly, Martin Edmonds in the mix there, along with Sarai, the gun runner.
Speaking of gun running, I got me a new shotgun.
Tell the people about your shotgun, sir.
It folds up in half. I can put it in my backpack, and I can run away into the bush. You'll never find me. It is single shot, so I mean it's not like
we'll probably find you. You are a huge individual.
You can't find Sasquatch, you can't find me.
I mean, that's a fair point, actually. If you believe the Sasquatch exists, we haven't found him, so there you go. Ayrton Tobin in a battle here with, I think that's Zifo Duran overtaking him there. Yeah, it is. So, Duran... it looks like Duran failed to overtake him, so there we are. Traffic has begun to be a thing here as the GT3s are working their way through some of the rearmost GT4 cars. That's John Picha in your shot there, and I don't know who that BMW is, but if it's the one behind Picha, it would be Javier Perez Torres.
Javier!
Let's go faster, Javier.
Javier in the air tonight.
Javier, of course, limited practice time for this race. His race room is still acting up, so we can only hope that his game just doesn't crash.
Indeed. Actually, on the Sasquatch front, I learned a thing about chimpanzees today.
Oh.
Apparently, in the Congo, where they are actually kind of hunted, and by kind of hunted, I mean hunted, they will set up shop no closer than like 12 miles away from anybody, like any human habitation or sign of human habitation, like roads or anything like that. They'll just move further into the jungle.
I wouldn't think there'd be a lot of roads in the Congo, to be honest.
There aren't, but you know, if you're trying to study, like there's this one subspecies they're trying to get information.
Just gotta shout out John Peach at a moment there. He was off track, but it looks like he's okay.
You just want to talk shit about John Peach. God,
no, I don't.
You're awful. You're the worst.
I'm a big fan of John Peach and all the three amigos. They show up, they work really hard, and they're really friendly guys.
Zerai giving you a big old high five.
Zerai Garunian losing some spots. That's what's happening. As Gustav Ekstrom gets around him. Moly Moly's also lost some spots. He's now fighting with Martin Edmonds over 8th place. And Ekstrom's going for a run against him. So go Gustav, go. That red Corvette is really functioning today, and that is 9th place for the Academy driver.
Cha-cha-cha.
Although Moly's got the inside line, might come back at him. Looks like Ekstrom has run out that battle, though. This is the battle again between Zifo Duran, Ayrton Tobin, and behind them that is Sergio Mengual and Zack Hemstrom. Bit of a bad race for Hemstrom. He started P2 amongst the GT4s, and Ekstrom's going for another one. He's going around the outside of Martin Edmonds, and Ekstrom 8th place.
Cha-cha-cha-cha.
On the charge. I was going to say, Hemstrom having a bit of a rough day. He's down in 5th place, or 6th place actually, after having started 2nd. So, plenty of time and obvious pace, but struggling at the moment in the GT4.
Looking at the top of the list going, no, he's not. Oh, down there, right? I got you.
GT4. The
Anyway,
orange guys.
colorblind, you are fucked.
I guess it would depend on your color blindness.
I suppose so.
For example, Ziggy would not be having a problem right now. He's just red-green colorblind. Or actually, I don't know.
Does that mean that if you show
that
him,
orange might be a problem.
If you get him to watch episodes of Red Green, he just can't see what's going on. It's all audio.
That would be intriguing.
You should definitely put that on. It's like, hey, can you see any? Is this essentially an audiobook to you?
Is this an audiobook in TV form? Montoya's still on the trail of Rick and Benny, and they still have Gomez with them. So battle for first going on, battle for third going on. As the GT3s weave their way through the slower traffic, there is Gerardo Delvel. Garunian's dropping still some more. It looks like he's picked up some damage. That front end does not look terribly healthy, so that could be the problem.
Anybody who's not Canadian, Red Green is a TV show. It is funny. You should watch it.
Indeed. It's where most of the duct tape lines come from.
Women can't find you handsome. They can at least find you handy.
Mm-hmm. Words to live by.
I like the one where he made his own paint stripper and threw it on one of the deck chairs and it just spontaneously combusts. Oh, fucking funny.
Of course, there is an art to getting through the traffic. You have to be forceful, but not too forceful. I mean, it's a balancing act of making your way through. You're going to lose time working through traffic, and it's something you've got to make peace with. But you got to try to also limit the amount of time you're losing.
Just stick it in there.
And it admittedly has been something that we're still working on in ESR because, of course, everyone has their own idea of what lapping cars and the lappy or the lapper are supposed to do, and we're still working on getting everyone kind of on the same page. As Martin Edmonds and Moly Moly work their way through, they are trying to catch up to Ekstrom, who's overtaken Clive Britton because that was Clive Britton sideways to the side of the road.
Actually, he's Irish.
Yes, but he is Clive Britton.
Seems like
somebody else is off there. Is that Zifo? I think that's Zifo Duran. Maybe? No, Simeonitis. Demetrius Simeonitis off the track.
Seems like some cultural appropriation there, Mr. Britain, air quotes.
Martin Edmonds getting around Moly Moly there as they lap Zachary Hemstrom.
Just wait until they start lapping Zachary Hemstrom.
That would be impressive.
I'm impressed.
I doubt that there's anyone with that name. Although I do actually know someone whose name is Hackery. We just call him Hack.
Hack-a-slash.
But he is not Swedish, so I assume the name is not Swedish.
Correct. Started using my new cast iron frying pan today.
Oh, yeah. Excellent, excellent.
It's too big. It's so big that like one burner on the stove isn't good enough. I need to actually shift it so I can use 2 burners at the same time to try and heat it up.
Ah. Yeah, that would be slightly the problem.
Yeah. It'll be great for pizzas.
It would. That'd be a great idea. Although I have a pizza pan, so that, kind of limits my need in that regard.
But is it cast iron?
It is not.
Well,
Contact, Zarai Garunian and Martin Edmonds.
high five.
Look like they got into it.
It's like a firm manly handshake. That's all that was.
Bit weird that they got into it because Garunian was back in like 12th place, so I'm not sure what sequence of events led us to that, but it is what it is, I guess. Looks like Moly Moly has dropped back down, so that might be what Brent made this a thing. Maybe. Just a quick note here. Richard DeRoche down in 11th place. What's up, Grande Ricardo? Get on him. Get a move on.
9. It's Sunday, man. You gotta be relaxed.
This was on Saturday.
You gotta relax.
You do have to relax. It's a key part. There is a GT4 leader in the background. Actually, is the white, yellow, and black BMW of John the Carnival Varker.
Step right up.
Oh god, this is an interesting battle over 8th place. Edmonds versus Garunian versus Delvea versus DeRoche versus Costa. That could be combustible. Meantime, Mike Stofmeel has slipped out to a 3.5-second lead over Ariel Zatoni, so it looks like he made it through the traffic a little bit better. Which I must say is part of being Mike Stofmeel, is you get a really good reputation and people are really accommodating when you're coming through on the blue flags.
Tune in next week for another edition of Being Mike Stofmeel.
You're really, really fast, and that's kind of really the series.
Pretty much. Coming through!
Martin Edmonds continues to hold the lead of this 5-car train, which is mostly BMWs. The only exception in there is Delvea and the Porsche, but for the time being, he holds court. Alvar Gomez still on the tail of Ishmael Montoya. Wonder why Alvar dropped the other part of his name. It used to be Alvar Gomez Cuesta. The Cuesta used to be gone.
Well, I mean, he probably got executed in the war. I have no idea.
John Barker makes way for this train of cars and gets a little bit of a love tap from Richard Roche. And that may have set up an inside run there for Mikel Costa. He may be getting 10th place here, or 11th place off of DeRoche, and in fact he does. So, position gained for the BMW driver. And our lone representative from France. Looks like we, nope, I was going to say it looked like we had lost John Picha, but he is still running. So that is not the case.
We should definitely get some more racers from France. Somebody incredibly fast, so in the event that they beat Mike Stofmeel, I can make French Revolution jokes.
I mean, we're open to people from it. We had that with Carol Vega for a bit, but Carol never really managed to actually put the Stofmeel in his place. Whoa!
Hello, Shirley!
Mikel Costa hitting one of the GT4 cars there. I think the netcode didn't quite pick that up because it didn't look like he hit him, but like the reaction of the car, it definitely hit him to him. And that's going to cost him. Clive Britton working his way through traffic there. And back to Ishmael Montoya, who's on the tail of Paul Ricard Bongo Riccomini, who is challenging you for the open weight title, I understand.
He is challenging, and after I'm done with him, he will be challenged.
for life, yes.
Huh? Good thing in the sim, open weight titles do not affect your sim fighter in the long run, unless I do something so horrible that it just violates the code.
It's not happened yet. And seeing as you fought Evan Wheeler at one point, I'm pretty sure we would have discovered that happening.
From all of the like borderline war crimes I've committed to Chris and Evan, it's Lord have mercy.
I don't think you even cheated against Evan, though. I think you just went out there and beat him.
Yeah, oh yeah. And the horrible things I've done to Night Dog.
That's true. Gustav Ekstrom with a spot there. I mean, in credit to Night Dog, he did manage to win a round off of you by getting a takedown and lying on top of you.
You betcha. Congratulations.
You just didn't have the gas tank to do it in the second round.
Correct. Now, see, if somebody comes in last place, they have to walk up to the statue there and kiss the Red Bull ring.
I mean, that does sound like something that probably should, at some point, be a thing. John Picha off the track there for a bit. By the way, Ayrton Tobin has dropped way back, and the reason is he's currently cruising around the track on 3 wheels, having destroyed one of his wheels, as Ishmael Montoya retakes 3rd place from Paul Ricard. So he is, if you see a car off to the side, there he is actually, dragging himself into the pit lane. That is Tobin.
Let the Vanger flow through you.
Let the Vanger flow through you, yes. Vanger's not here, so someone else has got to do it. As Paul Ricard looks like he's having a real hard time with that car and just gave up a spot there to Alvar Gomez.
Alvar, Bolivar, Gomez, and Steen.
We pitch into a battle between Zack Hemstrom and Sergio Mengual, which are 2 of the top guys in the championship. They're battling over 3rd place in the GT4 category. You can see the position of the car in the orange box there beside the best lap.
Orange box? I have that game.
Indeed. Whoa, somebody way off. I think that was Cole McRae. Yes, it is, and it appears he is missing his front end. So, this is, of course, a mandatory pit stop race. The mandatory pit window is open, so anyone with damage can get in and do their mandatory pit stop and fix their damage. So if I was Cole McRae, I would be plotting a trip down the pit lane right now.
It says 69 on the side of his car. Well done.
Douglas DeGroat battling with James Butler. Oh! That was a very sideways Mauricio Delgado.
Big old high five.
Hammered there. And Michael Magas charges through and says, thank you for the position, gentlemen.
As well, we all should be getting hammered right now.
In these times of disease and pestilence, yes.
We should, next time we do next month when we do the Enduro, I'll get some beverages in cans. And I will crack them open with my mic on. And if you're not keeping up, fuck you. Essentially is what I'm saying.
Looks like Hemstrom has put it to Mengual, who I think is the championship leader at the moment in the GT4 category. I would look it up now, but we've updated the standings, and I would have to do a lot of math.
Sergio, don't call me Mengual.
So Tobin has served his required pit stop, although it was a lengthy one to replace a wheel. So not in a great spot. Noel Robbins and Michael Magas fighting over 8th place.
I'm waiting to see somebody's axle just fall out on the track.
That would be interesting, but not in this game. We could possibly make it happen in another game, though.
Just like introduce some feature where, like mechanical failure, and you've got 0.000 blah 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 1% chance that random weird shit happens. Like one of your pistons flies through the hood, or your rear axle just falls off because your mechanics are idiot.
There is nothing more annoying than random mechanical failure in racing games.
Yep.
Most games do have a feature that allow that. I remember back in F1 2000, I made the mistake of driving as the Arrows for a season, and Arrows in real life was a car that often broke down. I didn't think that one through, and I had like 7 races during my single-player championship end in, well, the car's just dead.
Did you learn how to speak aerobic?
No, I did not.
Did you do any aerobics?
Yes.
Next.
There was some swearing aerobics in there, when the car broke down when I was winning it. Actually, this very track. Only it was the A1 ring at the time, and not the Red Bull ring.
Some alphabet aerobics.
Indeed. A1 ring, of course, has been a steady part of the F1 calendar since 1997, I believe. And now, of course, under the Red Bull ring name, because Red Bull is everywhere in racing, and that's just that's how that works.
Excellent.
Moly moly, overtaking Wayne Hutchison. I guess the question is, will Wayne Hutchison be the last guy to pit? Because we know Wayne is legendary for his long runs. Cole McRae has been in and out of the pit lane, and actually is no longer racing with the GT3s. He's actually fallen behind one of the GT4s. Quite surprising.
You just wait until the GT19 showed up.
It'll be interesting. A GT19 would be really, really slow, though, because the higher the number, the slower the car.
Oh, is that how that works?
Yeah, GT1s are the fastest GT1s.
It's like golf, but worse.
There's also GTX and GTE, just to confuse you even further.
Well, I'm assuming E means e-cigarette, and you're literally just running around the track taking hits off an e-cig like a schmuck.
No. I actually don't know what the E stands for. If someone knows,
electronic, right?
No, they're not. They're not electronic.
Oh, I just assumed that's what it was.
They're GT3 cars that aren't subject to some of the same rules that GT3s are. Like GT3, in order to have a GT3 car, you have to sell a certain number of them to the public.
GT Enterprise.
To give a basis of it. GTEs, I believe, don't require any sales figures and are therefore more dedicated race cars.
Just how dedicated?
Very dedicated.
Excellent.
I mean, David Letterman's involved. Come on.
Whoa!
He is a race car driver owner. Yeah. Ray Hall Letterman Motorsports.
I did not know that. How come we don't have David Letterman's face all over everything now?
I mean, we'd have to have some Ray Hall Letterman cars in the field, I guess.
This seems like they're discriminating against the finest TV host that's ever lived.
Indeed.
I will not stand for it.
There's a number of celebrity things. Paul Newman, of course, most famously, half of the Newman-Haas team. And Cedric the Entertainer owned a kart team for a while.
Oh, I didn't know that.
CTE Racing. Cedric the Entertainer.
Not a good look these days.
Indeed. There are a couple of others. Of course, Frankie Muniz becoming a race car driver.
And then Victim.
And then Victim, yes. This is a little bit awkward. We got a bit of a Ricardo Zonta Belgium moment here.
We're going six wide.
Some of the GT4s are in the way of this battle for third place, and it's worked out to more or less be in the same order. But that could have been interesting. I would love to know what Ishmael Montoya's ping is, because that car is just moving in a manner that a car cannot actually do. We'll just put it that way.
I think it's a shame that Paul Newman has died, because we'll never get to see Paul Newman and Gary Oldman in the same film.
That is a shame. It is a great shame. Actually, if you want a pro wrestling link to racing for a second here, Bob Holly actually does own part of a regional NASCAR team.
No, very nice.
So the Sparky plug gimmick is actually a reality now.
It's all come full circle.
Although he's not driving, so I guess it's not fully a thing, but he is at the tracks. A couple more pit stops have come in and out. Dixon Hurst, James Butler, and Douglas DeGrout have been in and out.
Dougie the Scroat.
They have joined Cole McRae and Ayrton Tobin in their pits. I would say this is a little bit early to be pitting. So pit stop logic here for a second. Droning on, being a nerd. I know even some of the ESR members don't find this part entertaining.
Nerd.
But here we go. These cars are not wearing their tires particularly heavily at all, so tires are not really a concern when it comes to the pits. So really, you're just looking for probably about a 45-minute mark of the race, making your pit stop. Alex Loeffler picking up a spot there on Zack Hemstrom, who just kind of let him drive past, but he's coming back at him. So I'm a little puzzled. Maybe there was a mistake there that happened before the camera came to this fight. And Hemstrom has got the spot back against the veteran and very widely respected Alex Loeffler. One of the main competitors in the GT4 class, an excellent pit stop guru, and a very solid racer. Mikel Costa has been in and out of the pits. He has made his, hopefully, lone stop of the day. Mauricio! That was very close to the bumper of Noel Robbins, but he has set himself up to get inside on the final turn, but Robbins shuts the door.
Get out of my house!
Also in that mix is... it's a lapped Porsche, so that is not a Porsche to consider concern ourselves with.
Whoa, rude.
Right now, no, he's on a different lap. Could mean that he's pitted. I think it is actually Dixon Hurst who's behind them. So, where Dixon actually is depends on where the pit stops shake out to be. Not entirely certain who everyone's livery is in this because the field has been constantly kind of changing. But I do have a rough idea of who everyone is. Delgado and Robbins still battling there. It looks like Delgado overshot his overtaking attempt there. And is still on the tail. Also coming through the field is Wayne Hutchison and Martin. Martin, how have you ended up behind Wayne? You were like 5 spots ahead of him.
Because Wayne in Spain falls mainly in first place.
Martin had the temerity to argue that he didn't murder tires in the chat of this race.
Lol.
Me and Sean Kenny were having fun with that insane concept. Speaking of Sean Kenny, there he is, fighting with Zerai Garani.
About to pass Martin.
I love it when a transition comes together. They put a lap there on. I'm not sure which BMW M4 that is, but hopefully we'll figure it out eventually. Ooh, that was not a good sound. I do not like how the gearbox sounds in that car. Oh God. Whew. The M6. The car that is good in race room and actually bad in real life. But, oh well. You take the BOP where you can get it, I guess.
Well, I still think you should be driving the VW Beetles, but no one listens to me.
If they were in the game, I'd be down for it. The only V-dubs in the game, I think, are the Golfs. Unfortunately, I don't think there's any Beetles.
Do they all have Peter Stormare's face plastered on them?
They do not.
Lame.
Noel Robbins and Michael Magas having a fight there, and Mauricio Delgado in the background. Magas lining up for an overtake into the corner here. Let's see what he can do. Does not look like that's going to be successful. As Robbins takes about. I was having a really hard time in that corner, so I'm actually surprised I even went for it. Besa Group racing team. The only reason I picked this car is because the driver's Croatian.
Seems a bit racist.
I mean, you gotta cosplay a little bit in here, man. It matters.
No, Montenegro or GTFO.
No Montenegrin drivers to pick from, unfortunately. Actually, I cannot name a Montenegrin driver. Actually, it's not a ton from any of the Yugoslavian.
Is it just because they're hard to pronounce, or?
No, I can pronounce it, no problem. There's not much in the way of like Yugoslavian drivers of note. We've never had an F1 driver, for example. Probably our most famous driver is a driver who's just famous for his height, which is Dusan Borkovic, who's like 6'8". And he raced in World Touring cars back in the day and literally had to stop racing after 2 rounds one season because he's just like, I don't fit in this car. I just don't. I'm like he was doing an interview and he was like giving the body position he had to be in to drive the car. It looked like the most uncomfortable thing ever. So he's pretty much the most famous Yugoslavian driver, but I can name a couple other ones. Milos Pavlovich comes to mind.
Pavel Pavlovich.
Well, there was almost an F1 team out of Yugoslavia, but that has never really come to pass. I don't think the money is really there. Alvar Gomez still on the tail of Ismael Montoya. They've got a little bit of breathing room back to Paul Ricard now. Keeping my eye on anyone who's on the charge or anyone else who's made a pit stop. Not really seeing anybody. Christoph Verstappen on the tail of Wayne Hutchison. I believe at this point Verstappen actually had made a pit stop early in the race due to a shortage of fuel. He still had his qualifying fuel on board, and sadly that did not count as a mandatory pit stop, so he will have to make another one before the day is through. And that is why Christoph is a little bit further down the order than we're used to seeing him down there in 13th place, as he just took that spot from Wayne Hutchison. Alvar Gomez still on the tail of Ismael Montoya as they make their way through on that. I think is Javier Perez Torres.
No, Javier's in first place.
The BMW M4. He is not.
It's a glitch. It's a glitch.
Javier is in 27th, which is about 10th place in the GT rules.
It's a glitch. Well-known glitch.
Well-known glitch. No, it's a well-known glitch when he goes off to hyperspace to save his planet.
Oh, yeah. That was it, dude.
I must save my people. Can't remember who that was. There was a glitch once where the car actually shot up in the air, and we actually had the I must go and save my people. Even better than the hyperspace stuff. Hemstrom has been in and out of the pits. Simeonitis has been in and out of the pits, so pit stops are taking shape here. Magas has found himself behind Mauricio Delgado, so it looks like he went off at some point. Noel Robbins up ahead of them in the BMW M4. And Alvar Gomez in 4th place still. Not really troubling Ismael Montoya anymore, but Montoya does have high ping, and that does mean that his chance of mistake is pretty high, so Alvar should put the pressure on. Clyde Britton is getting one step closer to not being in last place of the GT3s who have not pitted. And he really should break that habit. As he looks down the inside of Wayne Hutchison, but nothing doing at this time against the BWT pink Mercedes. I've yet to figure out why BWT is like everywhere in racing these days. There's a lot of like the pink cars going on, which is cool. It's a color you don't see a lot of in racing, so that's nice.
But why is it such a bad color pink though?
Yeah, it's not a great one. Although Pink Panther,
pink, make it fucking pink.
But the Pink Panther Formula One cars, which have this same shade of pink, actually do look quite good. So as he loses the spot there to Clyde Britton. That was actually the theme music that they used for the Pink Panthers on the Minis channel. Whenever whenever it was just like the Pink Panthers, it's just Magas has gotten past Delgado, and next on his list is Noel Robbins. If he can keep the Porsche behind him, it's a bit weird that the older Porsche is better than the newer Porsche, which is a little confusing. Signs that your design did not go as according to plan. Oh god, that is a shaking car. I don't know if I would really want to drive behind Ismael Montoya.
I just assume that he's playing Shimmy Shimmy Ya like at full volume the entire time he's racing. Shimmy Shimmy Ya, Shimmy Yo, Shimmy Yay. Give me the mic and I can take it away.
Actually, a little side note. The ACC race, of course, last week, which Sonia, our good friend, decided to race in. She apparently was listening to a song off of the Mass Effect soundtrack that is called Hypervelocity the whole time through the race. Just on.
What about regular velocity, man? Like, calm down. Holy shit.
I mean, you gotta go with what you got, I guess. And she is hyper, let's be honest.
Well, I mean, if she's not listening to Apocalypse Orchestra, I don't know.
She is familiar with the Apocalypse Orchestra. I don't know if that would be conducive to racing, though.
It would make me try and hit the gas at inappropriate moments, I think. I'd be like, oh yeah, good part of the song! It's on the quarter, fuck me.
I have listened to, I have a loop of Toss a Coin to Your Witcher. I did listen to that the whole time I was practicing for the Bilsterberg race that we just did.
But
I was not listening to it during the race, though. I do not recommend actually listening to music during the race. It's just a good thing to do when you're practicing, maybe, to keep just to keep you from going a little nuts. Noel Robbins lost it.
Into the pits.
Noel Robbins lost control, and that's going to cost him a couple of spots. Mike Magas is through. Mauricio Delgado is through. Actually, that's probably the only spot that's going to lose, because the next person up is Dimitris Simeonitis, who's like 31 seconds down the road, having made his pit stop.
I'm noticing a trend here. Everybody that isn't winning is rocking green tires. Everybody who is winning is rocking red tires.
That is the indication of the pit stop.
Oh, is it a pit stop there? I thought it was tire.
Yeah. Fair point. But the green means that you have served your mandatory pit stop. Red means you still have to.
Well, that's a whole other kind of... The crayfish is already in there, as well as Mikhail.
Looks like we've lost Ayrton Tobin and Zack Hemstrom from the race. Just looking at their gaps. So we are down to 30 running cars. That is 13 GT4s and 17 GT3s. There were more GT3s to start with, in fairness. Also, somebody has disappeared as well from the server. It's Javi P. Javi P has disappeared.
Javier!
So his game has crashed and put him out of play. Paul Ricard in the pits along with Shannon Flynn. I don't think we've even said Shannon Flynn's name all day, but he's running in like 5th place.
Shannon Flynn.
That's good. Mauricio Delgado in the pit lane. Gustav Ekstrom and Michael Magas will push it another lap. As will Gerardo Delvea and the black BMW. That is the Gunrunner. Zaragorani.
That motherfucker.
The Porsche in the background has already pitted. That is John Picha. I always recognize who's driving the monster Porsche, because it's always John.
Good job, Juanito.
God, I hate the downshift on that M6. Oh, God. That's a terrible sound. So once the pit stops are all completed, I will give you a rundown of who's where, because right now it doesn't really matter who's where, because a lot of people are kind of out of position, and we'll need to go. I think Martin Edmonds is in the pit lane. Either that or he's planted in a wall somewhere.
He's busy chugging syrup.
These are the options, I suppose. And hopefully everybody gets their pit stop done correctly today. It's, of course, been a problem in the past. Gerardo Delvea and Zaragorani putting a lap on Michael Magas, who is yet to pit, as are these two. It's so weird looking at that Porsche with no bonnet on. I wonder what the aerodynamic consequences of that are as they make their way to the pit lane. Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Oh, tag, you're it.
The Gunrunner kind of... That's an alarm from something in the pit lane, but...
this pit lane is protected by Viper.
Gustav Ekstrom apparently is sharing a pit box with one of the BMW M4s, because they are stacked on top of each other. That's entertaining. So they are in the pit lane. Although my thoughts are always, if you're pitting and Mike Stofmeel's not pitted yet, you're probably doing something wrong. Moly moly! On the tail of Richard Roche, battling for 5th place, but they have not pitted yet. These are two of the cars that have indeed picked up a number of spots off in the pit stops. And we'll see what they can do as Gustav Ekstrom rejoins the track in his Corvette C7. And we have a drive-through speeding in the pit lane for Gerardo Devel.
Because he is a reckless human and shall be punished.
That is correct, because he sped in the pit lane, and that is very reckless.
You, sir, could have caused the deaths of tens, if not ones, of persons.
Well, here's an example to think about. So Zaragarunian is the guy who almost rear-ended Gerardo heading into the pit lane.
Uh-huh.
And you'll see that Gerardo is nowhere to be found when they've come out of the pit, so he must have made considerable time on that speeding in the pit lane.
Appreciate it.
Moly moly, going for another lap. Mike Magas going for another lap.
Molex.
Or is Magas pitted?
Or, well,
Nope,
you
no,
should
he is
probably
not.
ask yourself that question.
No, I don't remember exactly when I pitted.
The fuck?
Zifo Duran, Sergio Mengual, and Michael Magas are the last 3 GT4s to pit. We still have 7 GT3s yet to pit. Mike Stofmeel has been in, and Ariel Satoni has inherited the lead.
In the end.
That was really all I was going with that.
Fair enough.
So Zatoni needs to do some really quick laps now and see if he can make this a fight between him and Stofmeel going down the stretch.
Get him, Z Tony, or is it Z Tony?
Although it looks like he's in the pit lane. I assume it is Zatoni, but I could be wrong.
Z Tony.
I know that Ariel does watch these videos and has never found it in his heart to correct us on the pronunciation of his name. So
it's a common Claire. His actual first name is
Hello Kitty in the pit lane! Sean Kenny.
Jonathan Kenningstein. Well played.
What are your thoughts on the Hello Kitty car? Yay or nay?
It's overdone. People think it's got shock value, but in this day and age, please.
Yeah, not really. It's been done enough that it definitely has no shock value. Let's be clear.
Well, I'm gonna bring the girly car. Fine, whatever. Who cares? It looks dumb. It doesn't look good.
Some of them have looked good. There are some, like if you watch, it's called Super GT. It's a Japanese series.
All right.
They do a lot of like anime and like Hello Kitty cars, and they look pretty damn good. But
Fair enough.
They're definitely a bit odd. You can tell a Super GT car when you look at it because they have their own. They have a very Japanese style.
That's fair, but it's just I feel that the majority of people who bring these cars think that they're shocking people, and it's please.
Yeah, no.
And if it's a personal favorite of yours, cool, that's fine. I don't have a problem.
I don't know what even would be shocking to see on a race car, really.
Literal porn.
I don't even know if that'd be shocking.
Human sacrifice gifts in live action, based on.
That would be well, the live action would be shocking.
Yeah,
because
because
then you
you
got
have
like
to have
animated.
like reactive panels on your car and
Yeah.
showing human sacrifice.
Without going into like live action shit, there's not a lot that would be.
What if somebody
that
showed
would
up
be,
in a competitive race with spinner hubs?
They'd be an idiot, but Ken Block did that already. So
No, all right, never mind then. I hear that you're being summoned. Sorry, we're gonna have to call this short here, guys. Commentators gonna end. Mike's gotta go take a call.
no, I'm literally just being told that someone has messaged me on the Bumble dating app. So there you go.
Well, hello, ladies.
I have a conversation going on with someone. Maybe it goes somewhere, maybe it doesn't. Maybe she just has Stockholm Syndrome right now. This is always possible.
Just to shut in.
Pretty much. So everybody has been in and out of the pits except for Clive Britton and Ishmael Montoya. Montoya in the lead of the race by virtue of having not pitted. Clive Britton in third by virtue of not having pitted. Looks like the pit stop did not work out for Ariel Zatoni. Not only is he not challenging Mike Stofmeel, he's behind Alvar Gomez. So that has not gone well. As Shannon Flynn gets lapped there. Still a very damaged front end there for Zarai Garunian. I guess that was not fixed in his pit stop. But he is running in 10th place, so I mean, it's not so bad. You know who actually probably won on the pit stops, actually, just looking at his position up ahead of him? Mikel Costa is up to 9th place, so that's fantastic. Moly Moly has exited the race, so we are down to 8 cars, and it looks like we have lost another car to full-on disconnect, because our number has shrunk once again to 33 cars listed on the list. So looking, it's a GT4 car by the looks of it, because I think we're good on GT3s. Not sure who is missing though. Zifo Duran leads the GT3 class from... Oh, it's John Barker! Of course. I forgot that John Barker and Moly Moly simultaneously dropped out. We thought it was maybe a British internet problem, but it turns out that Moly Moly ran out of fuel. Because when he pitted, they didn't put any fuel in his car.
Yikes. That seems like a clerical error.
It can happen. Admittedly, I make fun of people for screwing up their pit stops on these commentaries all the time, but it has to be said that the pit stop is one of the most difficult things in racing, because if you think about this, in real life, you would have a pit crew chief telling people what to do, and a set pit stop, and a bunch of minds. It would take a considerable amount of failure to not put fuel in the car. But here, there's only one person that can prevent that, and that's the driver. I mean, it's a lot to do, in all seriousness.
Oi, where's the big ass, you strumpet?
Gustav Ekstrom on the tail of Paul Ricard. I was going to say Ricard dropped back a bit, but then I remember that Clive Britton is not pitted yet, so once Britton pits, that may shake itself out. Ooh, BMW at the side of the road, in the wall. That is Zarai Garunian dropping to the back. So he has had a moment. Is he back on? I just don't see him, so he's still at the side of the road right now. Hats off to Gustav Ekstrom, who, with like basically zero practice, because he was a reserve driver for this race and only got the pass for about 5 minutes remaining in qualifying. 7th place. Fucking excellent work by the Swede.
Good job, Gustav.
And maybe actually 6, because Clive Britton in the Lincoln Park car does still have to pit, and was not anywhere near the 3rd place he's currently occupying. So we will see.
Back middle to the front, don't front.
Anyone surprising you, Byron, in your knowledge?
I'm surprised that Cole McRae is still actually racing. It's only kidding. No, nothing shocking. I don't know about. I'm not totally familiar with Alvar Gomez, but that's probably because I just don't pay attention enough.
Doesn't race with us a lot. He's part of one of the other communities that are taking part in this series.
Fair enough. So I mean, anybody who can hang with the front of that pack is pretty good, from my limited experience. I'm a little surprised that Mike Magas isn't in 13th place, but...
That would be really hard for me to get up to the 13th place in a GT4. That would be a hard one.
No, Toby Howard. That's the most surprising one.
Yeah, Toby was going to race in this race, but he signed out of this and the Academy race. He is under the weather right now.
Uh-oh.
It is not coronavirus, but those who do not know, Toby does have some general immuno problems, so
okay.
being ill does make him somewhat more of a subjective, more likely to contract coronavirus, and he is, I would say, very logically taking it easy. So he did not.
Please send all shotguns and pizzas to Toby Howard.
Indeed. Get well soon, Toby.
Get off my porch, plow!
Shannon Flynn just overtook Noel Robbins, apparently. I don't see where Noel was, but maybe he was off the track there. And, that's why we picked up that onboard shot. Christoph Verstappen, Gerardo Delvaux. Pretty lengthy rivalry between these two, fighting over 10th place. Somebody diving into the pits there. Let's see, can I see who it is? It is Clyde Britton. So the Lincoln Park car is in. And it looked like somebody else was coming in, but it looked like it was a BMW M4. And none of those had to make a pit stop, so perhaps additional problems for somebody.
They needed to construct additional pylons.
Looks like it's Noel Robbins, who we did suspect might have been off the track there, so perhaps he suffered some damage and is in to fix it. 32 minutes left. I think it's a good idea to get your car to full strength again.
Maybe.
I think so.
Possible.
Ariel Zattoni behind Alvar Gomez Cuesta. Battle for third place. By the way, Montoya still yet to pit. Clive Britton is in the pits right now. They are the last two that need to serve a mandatory pit stop. It's Mikel Costa and Verstappen and Delvaux. So it looks like Verstappen did get the battle of Delvaux. Costa missing his back end there. He's lost a bumper. That won't be a particular problem for him, to be honest. The bumper does not play much of a role in the aerodynamics of the car at the back, so he is probably fine to keep running just as is. Probably even benefits a little bit from a loss of weight, which is one of your favorite tactics.
Indeed. Now that you've asked me if anything was shocking, all I can hear in my mind is Jane's Addiction's "Nothing Shocking." It's a problem, and I'm blaming you for this.
Interestingly, and this is a bit of insider knowledge, just having been in the race, I believe Ishmael Montoya at this point had actually pitted. He just did not do the requirement for the mandatory pit stop. Those who are unaware, mandatory pit stop requires fuel and 2 tires. Oh God! Sergio Mengual is missing a good chunk of that Lotus.
It's fine. It's weight saving.
Yeah, but his aerodynamics have got to be compromised as all hell.
Well, you weigh so much less, you can push the gas pedal harder.
And I can't imagine his engine is super healthy with that much damage. But he is running in 4th place amongst the GT4s and the best of the non-BMWs. As the podium of Zifo Duran, Alex Loeffler, and Dimitri Simeonitis is very mono-brand, at the moment.
Actually, I believe it's pronounced Xenos Scum.
Purge the heretic. Burn the Xeno.
On that note, I'm going to make a pit stop of my own and be right back.
Roger. Ariel Zattoni continues to track down Alvar Gomez. Battle for a podium. Might be a battle for 2nd place, depending on how that Montoya pit stop, non-pit stop pans out. As somebody going a little bit slowly there. As Dixon Hurst moving a bit slowly there as he allowed somebody to lap him, I think. And the battle continues between Delvaux and Verstappen. This is Costa and Delvaux in 9th place. Verstappen is blasted clear of these guys. He's on a hard push, trying to make up for his double pit stop strategy. One of the BMW M4s there in the way of Zattoni and Gomez. Can't believe I was grasping for that. Not sure who that was, but it was one of the M4s. A little bit of a damaged front end. I think that's Dimitri Simeonitis. Oh, John Peach off the track. I think that's Dimitri Simeonitis in the BMW M4. Currently in 3rd place. Banged up front end, but presumably has presumably has fixed all he can. We've lost Zerai Garunian from the race, so we're down to 27 cars remaining. 15 GT3s and 12 GT4s. As Noel Robbins gives away there. And I think that's Simeonitis off the track again. I think that's Simeonitis' car anyways.
I came down with Simeonitis once.
Trying to figure out what this BMW M4 that has been off the track a couple of times is. I think it's Demetrius, but I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, I just put that there as ornamentation. It's no big deal.
While you were gone, we lost the gun runner from the race. Zerai Garunian is done. And we are down to 27 cars remaining. Ariel Zatoni still on the tail of Alvar Gomez for what is either third or second, depending on how Montoya's pit stop goes. As they make their way past Alex Loeffler. So I do believe that that is in the background Simeonitis, who is apparently running quite quickly, but also a bit inconsistently. Or that might be Zifo Duran, actually. Loeffler has inherited the lead of GT4 now. So problems for Duran. I think that does mean that it is Zifo Duran.
What about Duran?
What, boys?
Is he hungry like the wolf?
Could be hungry like the wolf. But at this point, I'm pretty much out of Duran songs, actually.
He's hungry like the wolf. Wild Boys. There's at least two more.
There's Falling Down, which is actually their newer song with Justin Timberlake.
That doesn't count. That's not good.
It's actually pretty good. Legitimately pretty good.
Veto.
Hey! Don't knock it till you try it.
I'm gonna knock it until I try it. I'm gonna knock it after I try it. How's that sound?
As Wayne Hutchison is the man getting out of the way of the battle for third place.
As well you should.
As well I should what?
I don't know.
Okay, so it is Zifo Duran in that car. All right, so Zifo Duran up on the tail of Alex Loeffler. This is the battle for the win in the GT4 category. These two are pretty prominent figures in the championship battle. I think Zifo, was the winner at Paul Ricard. And, Ariel tried to make a move on Gomez, and it did not pan out this time.
Little known fact, Duran, not actually from the Sudan.
Oh, and Ishmael Montoya has parked the car and is out. So there goes the debate over the pit stop. And this is now a fight for second place between Alvar Gomez and Ariel Zatoni. So no Audis remaining in the race. So having a look here. Is any particular brand been struck hard by the DNF bug? I guess Porsche. They've got 3. BMW has been... Actually, BMW's lost 4 because, of course, Perez, Torres, and Barker are missing from our standings here, and they were driving BMWs. But there were a lot of BMWs to begin with, so they still dominate the field.
Correct. All right. Duran fact. Are you ready?
Hit me.
The drummer for Duran, and yes, they had a drummer.
They did.
I just always assumed they were a boy band, and then later on in life I found out they actually all played instruments. So that's one, that's all right. So
they were like the rock boy band, basically.
Basically. So the drummer for Duran was Mr. Roger Taylor.
Wow.
But not that Roger Taylor.
Not that Roger
fact. So if you're a Queen fan, you can your heart can now come back to life.
Alvar Gomez losing second place there to Zatoni, but it looks like he might have a design on getting it back as the GT4 leaders get out of the way of this battle for Corvette supremacy between Paul Ricard and Gustav Ekstrom.
Maybe. Girls on film. There you go.
I do like that the Porsche that Alvar Gomez is driving. It's a good livery. I like it, the black and the red.
There's Girls on Film was also a big hit for Duran as well as Rio. And
I remember Rio.
There's got to be one more. There's Hungry Like the Wolf, Wild Boys, Girls on Film, Rio, and that's at least 4, if not 3.5.5. They did the soundtrack. They did the title track to "View to a Kill," the James Bond movie.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. There's 5. Other than that,
Shannon Flynn is up on the tail of Sergio Mengual, who I swear these are the same car, but the missing front half of Mengual's car is definitely making them feel very, very different. No brand loyalty really should be at play here. As far as I know, there's no alliance between Mengual and Finn, so Finn's gonna have to find his way around the damaged car the hard way.
put him in the wall.
Alvar Gomez going for a move around the... Well, not going for a move. I think that's really just more Tony going very defensive there. But nothing going there. I have no idea how to take that turn, so don't ask me questions about it. I was struggling with it all day. I think somebody apologized to me after the race. I went off while I was getting lapped by one of the GT4 cars or GT3 cars. I was like, "Oh no, dude, that had nothing to do with you. That was just that turn and me." Nick Bueno.
Nicholas who?
Nick Bueno, of course.
Wow.
Speaking of Nicolas Cage, I actually watched Lord of War earlier today.
Oh wow, I haven't seen that in a while.
It's a good movie.
I prefer it my way. With the late great Jared Leto. Who isn't dead. I just like saying that as a joke. Don't everybody calm down.
His career is.
I really liked him as the Joker. Because no one else has done that aspect of the Joker.
It actually, to be honest, I enjoyed it as well. It's just more the behavior on set is more what may have killed his career.
That's Jared Leto. If you don't know what you're getting when you sign him to a movie, then you're kind of an idiot.
It was apparently a little bit more than usual.
Well, really?
But,
the Joker has that effect on people.
Yeah, well, he was kind of doing the Heath Ledger kind of method acting thing, and that led to a lot of probably not spectacular pranks.
Yeah, I heard that there were a couple of pranks, but yikes.
Alex Loeffler and Zifo Duran continue to battle, although it is Duran now who has the lead. So that is shaping up in his favor. Clive Britton on the tail of Mikel Costa. Costa had a really good pit stop and had gotten up to about 7th place, but he's been dropping back ever since. I know he's missing a rear bumper, but one would think that that's not necessarily problematic for the car. Although, Loeffler trying to make a move there on Duran. That did not work out. Zenos Duran. There we go.
Purge the Zeno.
No, it's Purge the Heretic. Burn the Zeno.
Yeah, purge everything.
I was actually watching a Q&A video for one of the Warhammer channels I subscribe to. One of the questions was, do you think the Custodes have a problem with having Gilliman as the governor of the Emperor? And it's just like, I mean, who else would you have wanted? Lionel Johnson's a moody asshole. Lehman Russ is a feral monster. Jagata Khan would probably be like, ciao, I'm going to go ride my bike, and that's really all I'm going to do.
Pretty much.
And then he had a 5-minute speech of I have no idea why Jagatai Khan says ciao, or why he's suddenly Italian. I don't know what happened.
Hey.
As the lead of GT4 goes back to Alex Loeffler, and Gerardo Dalvel splits the two battling BMWs. But it is pretty true. I mean, as much as everyone hates on Gilliam, and with good reason, because Gilliam is a douche, it would be hard to think of who would be a better choice to lead the Empire. Or the Emperor. The Imperium man. Oh, fuck no.
Yes, Agron.
Butcher's nails up in this bitch.
But literally the entire Imperium stands up and goes, "Ah!" for the next 1,000 years.
Pretty much.
Turn it over to Agron.
Like I mean, like when debate of like who should have been the War Master of a horse is like, oh well, I mean it's either Horse or Gilliman. That's just really all there's to it. Clyde Britton taking 10th place there from Mikel Costa. Every time I see Michael spelt that way, I always think of Mikkel Samuelson, who I had a weird fandom of in the NHL. Like, he wasn't, like, a good player. It just seemed like whenever I watched him play, he did good things.
Maybe.
Played for Vancouver for a bit.
Oh, very nice.
Like, you look up his stats, it's like, you know, never a 20 goal scorer even or anything. It's just like, every time I saw him play, he played really well. It was very confusing. As a mistake there by Loeffler. So Clyde Britton goes. See, Alex Loeffler here, I think he's given a little bit too much room here to Mikel Costa. I think he could have maintained a bit of a line there. Not lost nearly as much time in his battle for the lead of the GT4 category.
I demand that he be elevated to GT negative 5,892.
Ooh. That would be like speed of light.
Indeed.
Oh, Loeffler. Off the track.
What a dick.
Shannon Flynn has indeed taken top Lotus honors over the half Lotus of Sergio Mengual, who is still missing a seemingly a large amount of his car. I do not believe a pit stop would in any way help him at this point, though. I don't think you can replace that in the pits. Only thing you could possibly fix is any kind of like suspension damage he happens to have because of whatever contact took the front of his car off.
I think it was a UFO.
Could be. Could it have been Zeno Duran?
It's probably fucking Unicron.
We appear to have lost another GT4. Oh no, that was Montoya we lost. Okay, we're still 14 GT4s and 12 GT4s, 14 GT3s still running, 22nd cars total.
Actually, I believe it's 19 GT19s and 24 GT Snow Racers.
I would love to have a racing game of GT Snow Racers.
Hell yeah. You can't tell me that somebody can't mod a snowboarding game for that. I
would think so. Mind you, a good snowboarding game is hard to find.
It's true. I think the last really good one I played was Cool Borders 3. And that was like 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I
would love a good snowboarding game. Give me a good snowboard cross game, and I would be in love with that.
SSX Tricky was a lot of fun. That was a whole bunch of fun right there.
I downloaded Madden the other day, and I've begun a quest to rebuild the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to something other than shit. And no, I don't have Tom Brady.
I was gonna say immediately the most obvious move, but no. Apparently, the talk that since Tom Brady and Antonio Brown have been so connected all the time, somebody asked the Tampa Bay coach, like, well, so is like Antonio Brown coming? He's like, nope.
I wouldn't bother with it. They've got a great receiving core with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. I think this would be one of the cases where as low risk as like signing Antonio Brown to like a minimum contract or something is, I still think it actually would be a bad idea.
Mm-hmm. He is mentally unstable.
It's a shame that Tom Brady and Bruce Arians are not reunited or are not uniting when Bruce Arians was the coach of the Cardinals. Because can you imagine Tom Brady throwing to Larry Fitzgerald?
Yes.
I'd be down with that.
But what if you could get Tom Brady throwing to Ryan Leaf?
I feel like that would just end up really, really bad. Like that's like the opposite. That's the opposite career spectrums right there. Ryan Leaf, hyped prospect, did nothing. Tom Brady, like 7th picked quarterback in his draft class, maybe greatest of all time. It's odd how I've always said this, that the scouting of quarterbacks is always a highly flawed process because so many really good quarterbacks are taken after complete scrubs.
Scrubs.
Like I was watching the worst move every franchise the NFL has made. Of course, Kansas City Chiefs' worst move is drafting Todd Blackledge, not because of like how bad Todd Blackledge is, but he was a quarterback that they drafted before Jim Kelly and Dan Marino were still on the board.
Oh my goodness.
John Elway also taken in that draft class, so like probably the best quarterbacking draft class of all time.
Yeah, I would have to say. Well, weren't Brady and your boy, the forehead, drafted in the same class?
No, the best quarterback drafted with Brady was Chad Pennington.
I always thought Manning and Brady were in the same class.
No, Manning is in fact older than Brady. Unless you're referring to Eli.
I am not.
Eli Manning's draft class pretty good too. Phillip Rivers and Ben Roethlisberger. As much as I talk smack about all 3 of those quarterbacks being horrendously overrated, they are all very good quarterbacks.
Yeah, only Phillip Rivers hasn't won a Super Bowl, and he's on the Colts now. He has a team now.
No, the Colts are really not much of a team right now.
That seems like you, sir, are not on the Pat McAfee gravy train.
Love me some Pat McAfee, don't get me wrong.
I don't believe you.
But the Colts have not had a good team around a quarterback since Peyton Manning was there.
This may or may not be true based on the fact that a once-in-a-generation quarterback got beat to shit and retired before the season started because he literally can't play anymore. His body's falling apart because that organization betrayed him.
I mean, they betrayed him more. They're just incompetent. Like, you know, never subscribe to malice where incompetence will do.
Listen, your incompetence has betrayed the physical well-being of a human being.
True. They completely wasted Andrew Luck's brief and painful career.
Yeah, and he put up great numbers from what I could tell.
Absolutely. Fantastic numbers. Pro Bowl numbers.
No,
on a team that had no running game and really no offensive line.
Yeah, that's we've got a once-in-a-generation quarterback. What do? Never draft an O-lineman ever again. Never do anything good that could help our quarterback ever again.
Yeah, and that's the team that Phillip Rivers basically has still. Like it's not any better.
I'm just interested to watch him talk shit, because by talking shit I mean talking crap, because he does not swear.
He does not swear at all.
Apparently that's a real thing. Like it's not just for the cameras.
Yeah, totally.
It's not just for the cameras. He does not swear.
Him, Andrew Luck, and Luke Kuechly are like the 3 weirdest players of this of like the last couple of generations. Right? Luke and Andrew because they are so damn polite, and Phillip Rivers because he refuses to swear, but is angry all the time.
Yeah, he is animated.
One of the best characters on the Gridiron Heights series.
He's super nice. Stofmeel watch. Just don't bother. Just
yeah, about 25 seconds ahead at this point.
Do not.
That's pretty small for him, actually, for like what has been an 81-minute race, actually.
Well, everything was pretty tight there for quite a while, and I was not watching to see when the big break happened, but.
Kind of in the pit stop shuffle, Zatoni for one, ended up behind Alvar Gomez, so obviously problems there. Now, Ariel has claimed that he had a perfectly good pit stop, maybe just lost some time in traffic or something, I don't know. But that was the point in the race in which any pressure on Stofmeel was pretty much alleviated. I guess when Montoya was running, there was pressure, depending on if Stofmeel knew that Montoya's pit stop was legit or not legit. And but after that, after his DNF, this has been a pretty foregone conclusion. Although the battle for GT4 honors is still going on. Alex Loeffler, about 5 seconds behind Sifo Duran right now, but he could possibly make that up in the last 8 minutes or so here. Clive Britton running in 10th place, ahead of Mikel Costa. Richard DeRoche, come on, Grande Ricardo, 12th place. Shame. And Wayne Hutchison, what's going on?
So his name's Clive Britton, but he's Irish, and he's racing for Black Falcon, but it's blue. Come on, man.
It's actually like a chrome color. It's just the lighting is kind of making it.
Whatever, man.
There is in fact a Black Falcon, like black car. Like
I'm aware.
They do like blue and green and red, like whatever. They just kind of have like a generic like pattern, which this is not. This is like a race room creation. I guess is a tribute to Lincoln Park, and that's why we make fun of it.
Shut up.
Paul Ricard in 4th position there. He is catching up with Ariel Zatoni, so Ariel's also not running great lap times right now. So that's also part of, I think, why Mike Stofmeel has skated into the distance. The only guy who seemed to really have the pace to take the fight to him has not had the greatest second half of the race here. But hey, I can't really throw shade. He's in 3rd place still.
You know who's not really
whereas
happy.
I am running in 6th place in what is by far the best GT4 car on the grid, and I'm losing to a pair of Lotuses. So, one of which is missing half of its bodywork. So I can't really level like criticism on anybody. We were having a good battle between the two Corvettes, but Gustav Ekstrom has fallen quite a ways back of Paul Ricard, so that appears to not really be a thing. Could be Ricard running some really good laps because he's catching Zatoni and leaving Ekstrom in his dust. Although again, shout out to the ESR Academy driver Gustav Ekstrom running in 5th position. And of course, another good showing from the Academy is Dimitris Simeonidis up in 3rd there in the GT4 class.
I had Simeonidis once.
This is Sparta!
Correct.
The movie that launched the career of Michael Fassbender, kind of weirdly.
And Gerard Butler.
Butler had a bit of a career at that time, but yes, it did definitely raise him from an also starring to a leading man.
Without 300, we would have no law-abiding citizen, and that would be a crying shame.
That's a good movie. I think at that point, Gerard Butler had already been in Tomb Raider, I want to say.
Man, nobody watched that.
I disagree. A lot of people watched that for Angelina Jolie's tight outfits. Didn't mind the first one, actually, of the Tomb Raider movies. It was okay, but the second one was not good. Not good.
I have not watched them, I'm sorry.
Wouldn't recommend it. I don't feel like I wasted my time with the first one is about the most positive thing I can say about it.
Gerard Butler, second movie he ever was in, Tomorrow Never Dies. Leading Seaman, HMS Devonshire, official role title.
So basically an extra.
Yes. He was also in Russell Macaulay's Tale of the Mummy, not to be confused with any of the real Mummy movies.
Ooh, Cole McRae off the side of the track moving a bit oddly, so I think significant damage to the BMW. But continue, please, Byron.
He was also Count Dracula in Dracula 2000. Or, as I like to mispronounce it, Dracula.
Oh, that movie was not good.
What?
Not.
Also, Creedy from Reign of Fire,
really don't.
everybody's favorite movie.
Indeed, that was, of course, the weird one, because you had Matthew McConaughey as the big badass in a movie that had Gerard Butler.
I liked it.
No, I liked it. I'm just saying odd.
The second McConaughey comes out of that tank, near the air, you're like, oh, there's the guy right there.
And Christian Bale was in that movie as well.
Voice of Beowulf from Beowulf and Grendel. Was apparently Eric the Phantom in Phantom of the Opera. I'm not sure. I guess that's the theatrical release? I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
A bunch of other stuff. A couple other things. 300. Some other stuff. Rock and Rolla. Something called Gamer, which I vaguely remember. And then Law Abiding Citizen.
Gamer was fun conceptually, but not particularly good. Had Keith Jardine in it.
Oh, well, that's probably the kiss of death. Probably overlooked the box office success and then got knocked out.
Keith Jardine's been in some good stuff.
He is your boy Gerard Butler is the voice in this How to Drain Your Flagon or something. Stoic the Vast. Coriolanus, if you have not seen Coriolanus and you're a Shakespeare fan, if you haven't seen Coriolanus and you're a dramatic movie fan, my goodness, you have missed out. Lord have mercy. Just go and track down a copy of Coriolanus and watch that shit.
Looks like Cole McRae did in fact have some damage as he rejoins the track from the pits, so to make a pit stop in the last 2 minutes, he definitely had something significantly wrong with the car.
The crayfish done had his claws chopped off.
As he has fallen a lap down to the next car, so he's pretty much going to finish last of the GT3s, but soldiering on. There are points to be had.
Oh god, he's in something called Geostorm. I think I need to watch that. That looks horrible.
That was horrible, but it's horrible in a way that you'll enjoy watching. It's horrible in a way that you'll enjoy. It's one of those so bad it's kind of good movies.
My goodness. Oh, he's in a movie coming out this year, or maybe he is out already? I don't know. It's called Hiccup.
It's called Hiccups.
It's called Greenland, and he plays Jeff.
Oh.
Miyamoyev?
As Sergio Mengual falls another lap down there, still missing the entire front of his car. So we're on the last lap now, or people are entering the last lap, whatever. Top 5 or your top 10 for GT3 is Mike Stofmeel, Alvar Gomez, Ariel Zatoni still on his tail though, Paul Ricard, Gustav Ekstrom, Sean Kenny, Christopher Streppen still on the chase to get Kenny, Delvea, Edmonds, and Britton rounding off your top 10. Delvea is still in trouble with Edmonds and Britton close by. In the GT4 category, it's Zifo Duran leading from Alex Loeffler, Demetrius Simeonitis, Shannon Flynn, Sergio Mengual, despite missing half his front car, is still keeping with Flynn. Michael Magas in 6th place, Mauricio Delgado 7th, Noel Robbins 8th, Douglas Grote 9th, and 10th for Dixon Hurst. Shout out to Dixon Hurst. He had a bit of a bad start to the race and has shuffled on and is still there.
I'm interested.
Always got to admire the fortitude of a driver to come from the back. Actually, I'm going to give my surprisingly uncompetitive guy of the day is the 11th place GT4 car of James Butler, who has been normally a fair bit higher than that. So not a good day for Oh! Contact between Gomez and Zatoni! Zatoni spun around. Where is Gomez? Gomez appears to be okay. Ricabeni might pick up 2nd place off this. Go Paul, go Paul!
Cha-cha.
But it looks like Gomez is going to hang on ahead of him. Mike Stofmeel, of course, your winner. So Ariel Zatoni, I'm not sure, but that felt like that was more Zatoni's fault. It'll be interesting to see if there's any stewarding inquiry on the move. But Zatoni comes home fourth ahead of Ekstrom. Sean Kenny will be the next GT3 over the line. There he is in the Hello Kitty car, 6th place. And then it is Christoph Verstappen, who had to make an extra pit stop. Still got her home in 7th. A lot of celebrations going on across the line here with some spinning and some burnouts, and some donuts, and some damage to cars. Clive Britton coming to the line there, ahead behind Martin Edmonds and the hoodless Gerardo Davel.
He's got a top off, sexy.
And here is the debut at Mikel Costa. Didn't end up being a great result for him, 11th place, but he ran quite well. That 30.6 lap time is pretty solid. Looking forward to what he can do next time out if he does join us. Your GT3 winner, or GT4 winner, is Zifo Duran, followed by Alex Loeffler and Dimitri Simeonitis. That's an all BMW podium. Mike Magas is shown in 4th place, but he overtook Shannon Flynn and Sergio Mengual after the finish, so he is actually behind them. There are your final results. Stofmeel from Gomez and Riccobeni, and Duran from Loeffler and Simeonitis.
Correct.
Oh, that was what was throwing me off so much. Duran and Simeonitis have the same livery. We're gonna have to fix that.
Somebody's gonna get bombed into oblivion.
So, well, it'll probably be Simeonitis will have to change because Duran was in that car at the start. Simeonitis switched into the BMW. So, unless they're a different number, could be. But it would be nice to get that into a different one too.
So you're saying we're gonna end up with like one more pink car?
I don't think there's a pink car to pick from, but maybe.
Fair enough. Rare race where Stofmeel does not get both fastest lap and winner. So hats off to Christofferson Verstrippensen.
Well, with the ballast, he's been having a hard time picking up the fastest laps a little bit. Anyways, championship rundown real quick here in the GT3 category. Mike Stofmeel leading the way with 3 wins to his name from Ariel Zatoni, Richard Durocher, Paul Riccobeni, and Martin Edmonds. And in the GT4 category, it is Zifo Duran leading the way from Alex Loeffler, Sergio Mengual, Dimitri Simeonitis, and James Butler, which, I mean, again, just emphasizes the oddity of James Butler's 11th place. He was 3rd at Indy, 5th at Paul Ricard. There may be some penalties on top of this still yet. The stewarding report has not been published.
He's just drunk.
He's not drunk.
You can't prove
I mean,
that.
he might be. Wait, are we talking about Butler?
Maybe.
Or are we talking about Jack?
Maybe.
Both of these are potentially drunk,
Maybe.
let's be honest. All right, that is all from the Red Bull Ring for the Enduro series. It happens once a month, so if you're interested, please let us know. We do not have room for a full-time entry, but we do have reserves. And people have been missing enough that if you're a reserve, there's a good chance that you'll be able to race. So there is that. Although while I'm here, since I may have their attention, I'm going to check and see if Zifo Duran and Demetrius Simeonitis are actually running the exact same car. They are not. Okay, so Demetrius is running the number 2. Zifo is running the number 3. So it is different. That being said, shout out to both those guys. If you don't want me to mix you up for each other, one of you's got to change cars. Because it's gonna happen.
They're virtually the same person anyway.
I don't know that at all. I know Demetrius quite well. I don't really know anything about Zifo Duran.
Well, you're wrong.
He did listen to me when I said, please change your name. Because he was, at one point, he was like, I think it was Zifo Performance, which was just a really awkward name to say.
Was it like Text Performance or something?
No, it's like, well, it's here's his first name.
T Performance?
His first name is TXEFO. I've been going with Zifo.
Correct.
So there you go. Anyways, Byron, you have anything to finalize this commentary?
Wash your damn hands.
Yes, wash your hands, stay inside, and race a lot. That's the call.